Welcome to the 8 Secrets of Successful Personal Brand Building. It's really great to have you here to talk through the essence of great personal brands, usually built through content. So personal brands are kind of the yes signal for people to buy from you. This complimentary training is all about helping others learn the secrets I've had to learn the hard way after decades of helping people build personal brands and developing big content brands to really connect with others and attract the attention they deserve. So a little bit more about me. I'm Alex Brooks. I don't like the way this slide's looking, and I hope it will look better in the end result, but I am an author, editor, and content strategist. So I was part of the team that helped build KidSpot, a parenting website which Rupert Murdoch's News Corp acquired for many millions of dollars a very long time ago. I've edited big brands like Choice, and I've worked for publishing companies, and I've written books. Today, I am the founder of Content Renegade, and I work with businesses to support content strategies that lead to sales and business growth. So fundamentally, what I'm going to talk you through today is the intersection of content and business. So the one thing I know from all the work I've done is that content is a bit of a mixed bag for people. For some people, it really works, and others just find it too hard to get into a rhythm of. What I'm going to show you today is the power of you. So the one really, really important thing that sets people apart from a content creation perspective is how well they leverage their crowd and their unique values and purpose. So essentially, I'm going to talk you through how to say more with less words and use the power of story to really help grow a personal brand. So the first secret, which is not really a secret, but it's kind of the most basic step, is nailing your crowd. So this is very different to your message and marketing, which might be more about nailing your customer. Your crowd, when it comes to content, may or may not be the same person as your customer. So I'm going to talk you through that because that's very confusing, and starting off in this very confusing nail your crowd secret might turn you off, in which case feel free, exit. But what I mean by that is that when it comes to content and storytelling, your crowd might not be the same person that your business directly earns revenue from. So this is very common in fashion businesses, for example, where yes, people need to buy those jeans, but actually it's more about the influences and whether the cool people are wearing those jeans that influence how many others go and buy those jeans. Another example of some of the clients I've talked through for this would be that I work with some authors, for example, and one of them writes middle grade fiction. Fantastic writer, super talented person. And we kind of worked out that her amazing social platform and author platform, it appeals to kids because obviously they're who buy her books, but actually it's the parents that are the gatekeepers of that purchase. So she kind of has to decide, is her crowd going to be the people who buy her books, or actually is the crowd going to be the parents who buy the books on the kids' behalf? And some businesses are like this, where the crowd and the client that gives you revenue, or the customer that pays you money, they're not one in the same. So I'll talk you through my hairdresser example. So a hairdresser who works on a suburban high street, might want to do content about how great their hairdressing services are in the local high street for women with hair, basically. But the important thing about hairdressers is their business model relies a lot on word of mouth. So really, the crowd that hairdresser does the content for is probably more likely to be wanting to look at amazing hair type stories. How great are the colors? How amazing are the cuts? What sort of transformation can you deliver? And this is what I mean by nailing your crowd. Basically, there is no point in starting on the treadmill of content if you can't do this, because in many cases it might be the same as your client or customer, but not in all. And in some cases where your crowd is not very aware of the problem or the problem or the transformation that you deliver, you might actually be better to have a crowd that can make your client pay you. So what I mean by that is if you're a business that makes, I'm making this up, that makes hair removers for toes. So your client is going to be someone with hairy toes. But actually, most people don't really care about their hairy toes if they're wearing shoes all the time. So really, what you need to do is agitate the pain of hairy toes and make people who have hairy toes pay attention to you. And so that might be more about your crowd is people who love shoes and want to be able to wear toeless shoes and sandals. And you might agitate around that pain point and make your particular client more aware of the problem that you solve. So this is quite a fundamental piece of how you start your content creation, because in all cases, it's not that you need your customer to be the crowd, but in some cases it is. So every business is different and you've got to think about where they are on the journey. So secret number 2, and the reason I have crowd at number 1 is you really don't even need to go to number 2 if you can't do number 1. You need to unlock why you're in business. And this is not just a basic business strategy piece. It's because the very best content is rooted in the authenticity of a person. The very best stories are tied up with people's purpose and people's values. I'm going to sort of explain that by talking through a little bit about Oprah. So Oprah Winfrey is a huge personal brand. She has been around for decades, and she's always been more than just a personal big brand. She is now the media. She runs her own TV station. She has her own magazines. She has TV shows. She also supports a book club. But the one thing about Oprah is that she is unique in her values. So other people can copy her. Other people have had magazines. Martha Stewart has had a magazine. Other people can have their own networks. Big, powerful celebrities often have their own TV networks. But no one else is Oprah. And why she's such a powerful personal brand is she puts her crowd at the center of her storytelling. So her personal brand, it looks on the surface like it's about her and her message, but it never is. So let's talk to Oprah's favorite things, which is a list of her favorite things that she really likes. Basically, she started it a very long time ago. And the reason her favorite things are so powerful is that it's laced in her values and purpose. And her values and purpose are all about celebrating small people, particularly women, particularly people of color. She is authentic. She's about gratitude. She's about making people happy. And so this comes through in everything she does. And that's what makes her storytelling so powerful. So as I said, secret 2 is about unlocking your values and purpose. And that's because the very best storytelling is nestled in this piece of hard stuff to deal with. So people whose values are aligned to the content they produce, they do best. They find the content is very easy to produce regularly. They don't get that, oh, I'm too scared to put that out there. It's because it aligns to them and who they are. They can easily find a great voice and a great rhythm to producing material. So purpose and values are extremely important, and all the best content really comes from this rich well of material. So secret number 4. This is an umbrella statement. And now I don't mean to get confusing, because some of the stuff I do talk about is confusing, but an umbrella statement or an elevator pitch is really just a very simple statement, usually 25 words or less, that really sums up what a business does and who they are. But if we go back to the hairdresser example, we talk about, a hairdresser on a high street who serves women with hair. Okay, that's one sort of elevator pitch. That's what I do. But actually, if you talk about Joe Bailey, who's from Double Bay, and what he does is he transforms the hair of society women. No matter how old they are, they can go to their next event and look fabulous. So his umbrella statement is kind of the same. He is a hairdresser on a high street cutting people who have hair. But you can see an umbrella statement with that level of detail that talks about how you transform your crowd and how you talk to the desires of that crowd is so much more powerful. And you want it to have as few words as possible, to be as clear as possible. So having an umbrella statement that ties up what your business does, why they do it, and how they do it is so important for coming back to for clarity and for developing really compelling story ideas that can be uniquely yours. So I don't think this is a very big secret, but many people do. When you create content that's for business purposes, it's actually not about you and your message. It's actually about finding the story hook to attract people to your content. So the reason story is so important is that this is what will make people pay attention. So you can't push your message. That is not what Oprah's done to build her brand. That is not what big, powerful brands like Elvis Presley or Dolly Parton or any of the really big global personal brands you can think of. It's not what they do. They let their crowd be the hero of the story, and their message is laced through it. So it's a very subtle difference. You know it when you see it. So when you see content that is just a hard sell. Really, storytelling is important because the brain craves it. The brain likes it. For decades, in fact, centuries, I should say, the human lizard brain has paid attention to story. It's how we've kept our children safe. It's how we stopped our children eating the poisonous red berries. We told them stories about red berries, and the kids that didn't eat the poisonous berries lived to tell another day, and implant that lizard brain desire to stay hooked on stories in our brains. So we are hardwired for them. And it's really important that you use the storytelling element to attract, not your message to push. It's a delicate dance, and it can get hard, but once you've got these foundations in place, it actually does all work. Now, the key, secret 6, is making your crowd share your stories. And this is why the storytelling element is so important. So social media and going viral, I mean, if I had $1 for every client that's asked me to go viral, I'd be very wealthy. But essentially, word of mouth has and will always be the most powerful marketing tool. It's always been more important than advertising. Even back in the mass media days, word of mouth beats TV every time. So using this shareability is super, super, super important. If you can crack it, you'll do really well. So secret 7 is about being visible where your crowd resides. And there are a lot of free digital tools to help with this refining of your message, helping craft the right language to use in your copy and content. I think Google Trends and Answer the Public are 2 of the most exciting, but there's plenty out there. Don't go down the rabbit hole with this. Just work out that you're on the right path. Find out what's rising, find out the right words that people are using, the right hashtags, and so on, and you'll go a long way. The final secret, attracting your crowd. Sounds easy, but once you capture people's hearts first, they will pay attention to you. So you can't expect their logical brain to pay attention to you. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got stuff to do. But if you light up their brain with stories, I guarantee you'll be irresistible, and you will build a powerful personal brand if you use these secrets in your content creation. If you want to take your content creation to the next level, there's certainly a whole lot of tools and processes that make that a lot easier. I do have a solution that I have finally spent 3 months crafting to be able to enable people to use this method themselves. It's basically called the Utool. It's a very challenging spreadsheet set of questions, but it gets right into the nitty-gritty, and then it automatically spits out a social media plan and ideas tailored to your values and your purpose. So yes, you can do it in half an hour if you know all the answers. I absolutely urge people to ponder the questions deeply, because the minute you get into your values and nailing that umbrella statement, you can really, really do powerful things to build an amazing brand that just instantly has people paying attention. This social media is such a great tool for that. I definitely don't advocate being on every platform and posting every hour of every day. But I do believe you're better to post sparingly using these powerful secrets than to post every hour and just, lose attention from every person that comes your way. So, the U-Sparks that this training tool generates are really, really powerful and help people create content relatively effortlessly. So the actual tool itself, they're the questions. You literally fill in the white boxes. And as you get to sort of tab 4 on the tool, you can come up with a really fantastic automated social media plan that sort of talks you through how to create different types of content related to those values. So it's I think it's pretty interesting and exciting offer that's just for Coach Co members at the moment. So I would love to find out more and work with everyone to really get people moving on it. So thank you so much for paying attention to this.